Hi there, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Our major stories tonight: 1 week into the 2025-2026 academic year, classes are told yet to officially or effectively resume in Anglophone Cameroon due to the separatist-imposed lockdown. A case in point is in Boya, which is a chief town of the southwest region, which remains relatively deserted. The few schools that have opened their gates have registered low attendance rate. Our reporter will be telling us how the atmosphere looks like in this part of Cameroon. And away from that, tribalism and nepotism take center stage as controversy erupts involving Senator Francois Pouene and Abdurrahim Bouka, Director of Cabinet at the National Assembly of Cameroon. Videos allegedly show them using hate language and displaying tribalistic tendencies while campaigning for the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement (CPDM) party. Those are top stories tonight. The news in full in a jiffy. Thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television to get yourself informed on what is happening in Cameroon and equally around the world. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. 1 week into the 2025-2026 academic year, the town of Boya is still relatively ghosted and several schools remain open. Though there has been some improvement, especially with some schools around Bukwango receiving students today, the general situation is still very disturbing. Rex Afon visited some schools within the town and he reports on the state of things in Boya.
We are in week 2 of the 2025-2026 academic year. Most parts of the town of Boya still battle with ghost town. Unlike last week, few students are present on campus at Government High School Boya.
This second week, I want to say, is really promising. We're very happy. It's better than the last week because come today, so many students came and we have their classes going on. We have children who are afraid to come to school. We have parents who think if their children come, they will kill them. Even like in Bukwango here, where I think it's a safe zone, parents are still very reluctant to send their children to school. So those are really some of the challenges. It is the parents who are holding back their children.
Revising what they did in Form 5.
The students have already begun taking lectures.
The date of today is 16 September 2025. We have biology. The environment is somehow a bit shocking because it's coming new student.
Although the class was a bit scanty, but people still came and they were still the learning and teaching process.
Some parents accompanied their children to and from school for fear of the unknown.
The life of my child is very important and the education of my child is very important. So I accompany my child to school just to protect her from any danger that will come on her way. So it's just for her protection. The education of my child, that is the only good thing I can give to my child, education. So those parents who are keeping their children home, I just ask them to send their children to school because education to our children is more important. That is the only gift that parents can give to our children.
Though a few schools have begun receiving students, attendance is still very timid. Most schools in the town still remain closed. Movement also is still far from the usual.
Another news, 2 families based in Bomonoga under the Bombari subdivision are loggerheads over a piece of land left behind for the children of the Bongopo Malobe family. The said piece of land, which is now dividing the 2 families, is said to have been left behind by the head of the Malobe family, who is now of blessed memory. Smart Jikan Gabriel completes that story.
The piece of the quarried land in Dibombari, a signboard reads, "Access denied to anyone since it's a family land." It is a piece of land that measures over 20 hectares by size, which on one side is owned by Mbongo Mpo Maloba family residing in Bomonoga, and Dondashal is also claiming ownership of the same parcel of land. The Mbongo Mpo Maloba family says the father of Dondashal was an employee to their father. Our grandfather used the father of Shal to protect the land. Since he started having children, our grandfather gave him 3 hectares of land to manage with his family. But since the man with whom our father had an agreement is no more, his son is now claiming our grandfather and his were relatives. But the accused debunked the information, saying they are 2 different families. They locked me in prison in order to quickly make the land title. They kept me behind bars for 4 months, but I am still claiming my land because we are of 2 families with separate fathers. Several court hearings have given victory to the Mbongompo Maluba family. A meeting that was called by the chief of Bomonoga ended having just the presence of one party. The children of Bongompo Maluba family, who are claiming ownership of the piece of land, say as they have noticed we are children, they started disturbing us. Unfortunately for them, all court cases about the land, we have won them. This land is ours because we already have the land title, which is contesting now. I accepted what was given to me and I still maintain my position. I know that whenever a control will be done on the land, I will be called up and I will still ask for the remaining piece of land. I have been given 5 hectares already. The family that is claiming ownership of the land is urging the government to intervene.
And now to one of our major lead stories, a video featuring Senator Francois Pone and the Director of Cabinet at the National Assembly of Cameroon has sparked controversies on social media. The videos captured in the West and Far North regions appear to show the officials using hate language and displaying tribalistic tendencies while campaigning for the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM party. Fomi Armstrong Sanda has more.
The controversial and divisive utterances of Senator Madame Françoise Pene were made in Bafang in the open camp of the West region at a meeting of the CPDM party's divisional stakeholders for the open camp. In a 2 minutes 39 seconds viral video, she is captured threatening to send non-indigens packing out of Bafang and the rest of the open camp division if they fail to vote the CPDM party on the 12th of October 2025. She went further to accuse them of causing trouble in the open camp division by fueling opposition tendencies. In a similar viral controversial outing, the Director of Cabinet at the National Assembly of Cameroon, Buka Abdurrahim, is captured, blaming some ministers from his Far North region of origin for the lack of a regional mentality in their activities. To him, President Paul Biya appoints them to put their region's interests first before that of other parts of the country. He questions why, according to him, they cannot develop the Far North region like Emmanuel Ngano Jumesi, who he says has concentrated development in his West region of origin.
Même si on doit le prendre, tous les Bamileke sont derrière Ngano Jumesi. Nous, à l'Assemblée, nous avons pris nos responsabilités.
Buka Abdurrahim brags that he is one of such good examples in the Far North region because, according to him, over 300 Far Northerners now work at Cameroon's National Assembly from less than 50, which he made when he became Director of Cabinet in 2014.
Il y avait à peine 50 ressortissants de l'extrême nord à l'Assemblée nationale. Aujourd'hui, il y en a combien? Plus de 300.
Apparently castigating ministers like Alamin Osman May and others, he says Minister Hele Pierre and Dr. Taiga are good examples of ministers from the Far North region working for the interests of their region before that of Cameroon, like him, Director of Cabinet.
In the same vein, human rights defenders have condemned the statements made by Buka Abdurrahim, Director of Cabinet at the National Assembly, accusing elites from the Far North region of neglecting their area of origin while serving the government. His comments have sparked outrage among Cameroonians, particularly with October 12 presidential elections fast approaching. Malagari has details.
Just like many Cameroonians, Simon Pierre, a human rights activist, described the speech made by the cabinet of the President of the National Assembly, Bocar Abdurrahim, as tribalistic.
Les Camerounais ou encore dans leur ensemble.
He explained that the cabinet director's speech conveyed a negative message to Cameroonians, that one can only extend help to people they are directly related to, in spite of their qualifications. He says that Bocar Abdurrahim used the Minister of Public Transport as an example who to him has done enough to develop his region of origin, reason why his tribesmen support him.
Ce sont des discours qu'il faut condamner avec la toute dernière énergie.
Bocar Abdurrahim made the declaration while addressing locals of the Far North region during a meeting.
C'est pas Paul Biya qui est notre problème, c'est nous-mêmes.
Simon Pierre furthers that Bocar Abdurrahim in his speech gives the impression to Cameroonians that meritocracy no longer has a place in the country, as he blames elites of the Far North region for not sharing the national cake with their local population.
Qui amène les uns et les autres à penser que nous sommes dans un système ou dans un régime qui ne prime pas la méritocratie.
According to the human rights activist, the speech from the cabinet director implies that one can only be employed based on their social background and family connections.
Je suis l'enfant de X et donc je devrais bénéficier les avantages qui vont avec. Je suis ressortissant de telle communauté.
This is because of the growing level of unemployment in the country, which Simon Pierre says that the director's speech to an extent can provoke a widespread protest.
Un tel discours a pour objectif d'amener les populations même à se soulever.
In prelude to the October 12 presidential elections, human rights activists believe that government officials should be making speeches that can unite and not to divide.
Malak Luri reporting there. The president of the Cameroon National Salvation Front, Issa Chiroma Bakari, is urging all opposition leaders to let go of egocentric stances and work together for a massive victory in the forthcoming presidential elections in Cameroon. He was speaking to Radio France International after his designation by a civil society group as a consensus candidate for the opposition. Babila Jonathan reports.
It is not the choice of the political party, but the people's choice. Issa Chiroma Bakari says he has been chosen by the people through the civil society to lead the opposition as a consensus candidate in the October 12 presidential election in Cameroon.
Je suis ouvert à toute proposition dont l'objet est la construction du changement.
According to him, his acceptance of the proposal of the Union for Change movement, notably the one-term and transition of 3 to 5 years conditions, is in response to the people's quest for change. About the fact that he has neither been congratulated nor accepted by the other 11 opposition candidates.
Nous sommes en discussion, nous sommes en négociation avec tout parti politique.
Issa Chiroma Bakari highlights ongoing negotiations with all the parties in the race.
La victoire sera massive, une victoire inexorable.
The president of the Cameroon National Salvation Front, Issa Chiroma Bakari, believes in a massive victory for an opposition candidate backed by others, or at least some of the major candidates, and less than 15 to 20% for the incumbent President Paul Biya.
Le président ne fera pas 15 à 20%, c'est impensable.
But he emphasizes that such a massive victory for an opposition candidate requires working together.
Ensemble, nous sommes en mesure d'avoir cette victoire écrasante.
And now we talk something else. The Institute of Economics and Peace has classified Cameroon as one of the most violent and insecure nations in Africa. The country's security situation is dire due to the ongoing conflicts in the northwest and southwest regions, coupled with Boko Haram attacks in the far north region. In contrast, Mauritius has been ranked as the most peaceful nation in Africa. Annabella tells us more.
Has been classified 40th among 50 African countries which enjoy a certain level of peace. The study carried out by the Institute of Economy and Peace considered the level of security, safety, terrorism, national and international conflict, as well as civil wars in those countries. The degree of militarization, defense budget, and the number of soldiers were also taken into consideration. In Cameroon, the 7-year-old war in the English-speaking regions, the militarization of the northwest and southwest, plus the Boko Haram attacks in the northern parts of the country are some factors which place Cameroon in the 40th position. Meanwhile, Somalia, Burkina Faso, Mali, South Sudan and the DRC, plus Sudan, are some of the most violent and insecure nations in Africa. On the other hand, according to the Institute of Peace, the Mauritius, Botswana, Namibia, Gambia and Sierra Leone are some of the most peaceful countries to live in Africa. At the world level, the Global Peace Index classifications indicate that in Africa, the Middle East and North Africa are less violent nations, while Sub-Saharan Africa has seen peace in those parts of the continent gradually deteriorate with national conflicts and frequent civil wars.
And now we talk culture. As a symbol of unity and peace, the Gondo Peace Caravan was held in Douala on September 14, bringing together the Sawa and the Northwest communities in the littoral region. This event showcased Cameroon's rich cultural diversity and served as a platform for dignitaries to promote a message of peace and ahead of the presidential election, fostering hope for stability and harmony in the city. Eselusi has more.
In a remarkable event, the Northwest community and the Sawa people of Douala hosted the Ngondo Caravan for Peace, a significant move to reinforce their ties.
We all remember that it is in this land of Douala that Cameroon as a nation started. Thus, the eternal vocation of the city of Douala as the cradle of our nation is to welcome the sons and daughters of Cameroon.
The occasion brought together top dignitaries from both regions, serving as a platform for the people to echo a message of peace ahead of the presidential election.
Douala is that unique city where you find living together because it's our common home, and it must in no case become a political battlefield. It must remain what it has always been, a place of life, a land of welcome, cosmopolitan city, vital economic center, and last but not least, a showcase of living together.
There are hopes that trust and commitment will be fostered to ensure peace and tranquility before, during, and after the presidential election.
We gathered here today for one purpose. We have the upcoming elections in October. And the message is very clear that the Northwest stands for peace, together with the Ngondo community in Douala, peace before, peace during, and peace after the elections.
They also believe that Douala, being home to many, should be free of political instability.
We will accept whoever wins the elections and continue living together as brothers and sisters. Most people have made their lives here in Douala, and we will not allow Douala this time around to be a fertile ground for those who are calling for violence. That is the message here today. Peace before, during, and after the elections.
The Ngondo Peace Caravan captures the spirit of togetherness, love, and cultural richness, promoting harmony between the Sawa and Northwest communities.
The reports done by Eselusi ends this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. On the line in Boya is NJI Lucas, a civil society actor. Good evening, NJI Lucas. It's a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight.
Good evening, Immaculate. It's a pleasure being on Talking Points tonight, all the way from Boya.
NJI Lucas, with less than 3 weeks to the presidential elections, do you think it's too late or too early for the opposition to propose a consensus candidate at this point and time?
Yes, as the question goes that with less than 2 weeks to this election, Immaculate, is the opposition, is it late for us to have a consensus candidate? Of course, it's not late in the sense that a consensus candidate, even after ballot papers have been printed, like we observed the last time the Minister of Territorial Administration was at the site where this is being done for him to check, was carried out. It is not late. What is most important here is that Cameroonians should be conscious of who they want, what they want, and how they want it. This is because several Cameroonians are yet to understand exactly what we have on the table. So as concerning the consensus candidate, I don't think it is late, and it is not late as concerning the Cameroon politics. What is more of a concern to Cameroonians is the atmosphere that will give them that right to enjoy the fundamental human rights they possess as concerning this election, which we are talking about, that is scheduled for the 12th of October 2025. So we have to be very mindful of the things that are happening out there. We have several people who are talking about things that Cameroonians are asking too many questions. Cameroonians know exactly that they have elections. Most Cameroonians know that there is something they hate. However, most Cameroonians still do not know exactly who to vote and how to go about it, which I think tonight they will have to understand more.
Now, NJI Lucas, following the Union for Change UPC group's choice of Issa Chiroma Bakari as a consensus candidate, his name has received several backlash. What's your analysis of this reaction from some Cameroonians?
I want to be very clear on this, Immaculate, as concerning a consensus candidate. It would appear many Cameroonians are yet to understand what that word is. I know that the difficulty here is that it is said that an opposition consensus candidate. This is where we have this backlash, where you have Edi Kawala who is talking, you have others who are talking as concerning this. We have Barrister Tamful Richard, who also came out and said that is not possible. What is most important here is that a consensus candidate basically means that a group of people sat, and in that consensus that they had someone that they all agreed to serve as the candidate for this election. This does not mean that the former minister, Issa Chiroma Bakari, is a consensus candidate for the opposition parties that are going in for this election. You know, we have two oppositions as concerning this, which is worth explaining to Cameroonians. You have the opposition parties that are not taking part of the elections. You have the opposition party that are taking part of the elections. So the consensus candidate here is made up of opposition that are not taking part in this upcoming election, which is where the crux of the matter lies as concerning this. So I think that it is most important for Cameroonians to understand this, that the people who sat on the 13 in Yaoundé, where Issa Chiroma Bakari was chosen by these people, that's the Union for Change. You know, several persons have talked about the Union for Change as per the situation in 1992 when there was a certain Union for Change that actually were behind the then and the pioneer chairperson of the SDF party. So this is not the same case, because these people who are going in, those who have actually designated or those who have given their opinion, those who say, okay, we give it to you, Issa Chiroma Bakari, are not parties that are going in. And Cameroonians are still in oblivion because they do not know exactly who has been chosen, in the sense that who are these people, apart from people like Anesine Kane, whom we praise his mind with regards to this. We have seen how he's flexible. Cameroonians are asking questions that who is these people? Who are these people who say they are giving the mantle to Minister Issa Chiroma, former Minister Issa Chiroma Bakari, to be the candidate for the election?
Now, still on this aspect, some critics seem to be unhappy with the choice of Issa Chiroma Bakari. What other alternatives are they proposing? Why just complain without bringing up an alternative? Don't you see something wrong with that?
Critics, like I talked about Barrister Tamful Richard, Immaculate, who is among those who criticized this move. We have Kawala. We also have Ndifo Richard, I've read a couple of his outings on the social media from the Social Democratic Front, also who have talked about this, and many are asking the alternative choice as concerning this, that who do they think should represent, who do they think should be. I want to be very categorical and very clear as concerning this. We have had the Center Southeast that is managing Cameroon today. We have had the Grand North that has managed Cameroon. I'm looking at the former president, Amadou Ahidjo, and I'm looking at the present president, His Excellency President Paul Biya, who is equally going in for this election. Now, you realize that the Center Southeast, now the Northerners, let me begin with them, they managed the country for about 25 years, from 1961 to 1982. For about 25 years, Ahidjo was a president who came from that area. He represented the three Grand North, or the northern regions. Now we have Mr. Paul Biya, who is actually from the Center Southeast. If you look at the people from the center, the people from the south, and the people from the east, of course, you know these people they have a particular grouping. So what we want right now is that we want to see someone that should come from, why not, an Anglophone, you know, an Anglophone that should also now take the people of the West region, the Southwest region, and the Littoral region, and why not have a president from that area? So, in a nutshell, the others have done their best. I want to make it very clear that the others have done their best. We cannot refuse that it is not their best, because the best of someone is determined by the person. You may not understand that it is their best because you disagree with them, but it is their best. Amadou Ahidjo did his best. Paul Biya is also doing his best with regards to this. So we are saying that why not an Anglophone? And this is where several eyes are dropping on the former bâtonnier of the Cameroon Bar Council or Bar Association in the person of Barrister Akeremuna. This is where we think that, okay, if they don't prefer these people from that end, why not this person? I know someone may want to say, but why now? This is because we have seen others from other areas. They have done their best. They have tried to manage the country for us. And we truly appreciate their effort towards managing the country for us. And so we think that at this moment, why not someone also? It should be Barrister Akeremuna in this case. Some are saying that it could be Honorable Joshua Osi Nambangi, who is a member of Parliament of the Republic of Cameroon. But I think that if you look at the thing entirely, we think that there is no proposal. So we of the civil society are now also proposing that this could be, an alternative.
NJI Lucas speaking to us live from Boya, chief town of the Southwest region. Thank you so much for your time. And that's what put a cap to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for always staying with us. Have a wonderful evening in the company of interesting programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.